Hello, my name is Ailsa. Welcome to another booktube video. Today I am going to go through my April balancing the books. This is something that was started by Emma on Drinking by My Shelf. I've kind of adapted it slightly for my own needs with my TBR. And what I am doing is, for every book that comes onto my physical TBR shelf each month, whether that's for a review, from the library, a book I've bought, anything, I have to get 2 books off my TBR shelf by reading them. I had 2 books carried over from last month that I needed to read because I received a book last month and didn't actually read any. I am pleased to say that I did that, and I'll go through the books I read in a minute. I did receive an ebook for review in April, but I don't count ebooks towards the TBR, I'm just doing it for the physical pile. So maybe it's a little hypocritical then, but I do count ebooks towards books I have read in a month. I don't know if this is sustainable long term, but I tend to read way more physical books than ebooks, so for the moment I'm gonna let that be the rules. So, with that said, I will get on to the books that I did read. First up, I finished reading Lord of Secrets by Breanna Teintze. I love that one. I mentioned it in a couple of videos already because I had kind of finished reading it before I filmed my March wrap-up. But I really enjoyed it. It's fantasy. It's got a, don't know if he's a good guy or bad guy, but it's really compelling to read character in it who is fascinating. I'm taking part in the blog tour for it in June, so look out for a written review then. And I'm also going to feature it in a video, hopefully later this month. I was going to do something on fantasy books, so it'll crop up in there. The next book that I finished reading was The Rose Chord. Lord of Secrets I read on holiday while I was away with my family at the beginning of April. I also then started reading The Rose Chord by J.D. Oswald, or James Oswald. This is the second in the Sir Benfro series. Technically it's called The Ballad of Sir Benfro. This is a book in kind of a Welsh sort of setting, which means that there's half the names I don't know how to pronounce. It is about a boy called Earl and a dragon called Benfro, and how their paths kind of intersect as they go through life. It is interesting, it's a nice easy read, and it develops quite slowly, I think, slow and steady. Enough happening to keep me reading and keep me engaged, but it's very leisurely reading, I think, as well. And I believe there's about 5 books in this series. I've got the 3rd one here in London, and my dad has the other 2 in the series at my parents' house in Scotland. So next time I go up there, I will pick up the next 2. Then I went on to the ebook that I received for review. That was The Earl's Countess of Convenience by Marguerite Kaye. I got that for review from Mills & Boon. It was a bit info dumpy, in fact very info dumpy in the first several pages, and that was really off-putting. I completely lost track of who they were talking about. It was these 4 women having a conversation, and I was so confused by the end of it about whose relatives were where and how they were interconnected and things like that. And it just was like backstory, and I'm just like, I'm not sure why this is relevant, frankly. But then it got going, it was good, I really enjoyed the rest of it. Still not convinced they needed all the backstory at the beginning. I really think they could have been a better way to weave that into the story that would have been less confusing, and I don't think they needed all of it. But anyway, good book overall, I enjoyed it, and I finished reading that one. And then the final book that I finished reading was Swords of Good Men by Snorri Kristjansson. I read this over the Easter long weekend while I was away in Oslo, and it's quite interesting because this book is set in Norway as well. It is about a group of Christian warriors and a group of warriors who believe in the traditional Scandinavian gods of Thor, Loki and Freya and ones like that. They're kind of converging on a town, and it's about the ensuing battle, really. I enjoyed it. It was slower than I expected it to be. It was a lot more focused on various little strategies in this one battle than I expected it to be. It is book 1 in a trilogy. I don't think I'm going to go on and read books 2 and 3, to be honest. It was interesting, but there's too many books in the world. Frankly, there are about 150 on my TBR shelf just in this house. So, yeah, not going to get to those others, I don't think. So that was 4, and then right at the end of the month, on the 30th, I went to the YA Book Prize social evening that they've done for the past few years, and as on previous occasions, they had goodie bags available, and the book that I got in my goodie bag was a proof of We Are Blood and Thunder by Kesia Lupo. This actually came out in April, although as I said, this is a proof. I'll try and find a photo of the actual cover to put in for you. This is a YA fantasy. It's about a woman trying to get out of a locked city while another woman trying to get in, or something along those lines. Not really sure of the ins and outs of it, but I will hopefully be reading this soon, and I will tell you more about it then. That means that I have to read 2 more books in April, but luckily that was 4 total, so April is neutral. I'm so happy about that. It means that I'm not carrying over any more books into May, which means there's a lot less pressure, especially as I've already picked up a book in May. Let's keep quiet about that. But yes, that is my April balancing the books. I'd love to know if you're doing anything to cut down on TBR pile at the moment, if you've read any of these books, again, what did you think of them? And I will talk to you soon. Bye!